Hello everyone. So today I will discuss the organizational development changes and key OD issues faced by Starbucks Malaysia, using a timeline approach before pandemic, post-pandemic, and the current situation. So Starbucks in Malaysia operate as a local franchise of a global brand, which strongly influence its organizational development processes. So before COVID pandemic, Starbucks Malaysia was in a growth expansion phase, focusing on outlet expansion, brand consistency, and service excellence. From an OD perspective, this period reflects planned and stable development, aligned with Lewin's unfreeze change refreeze model, where the organizational practices were already refrozen into a stable routine. However, there were underlying OD issues, which is first, Starbucks Malaysia had limited strategic autonomy as key decisions were controlled by its global headquarters. This aligned with open system theory, where the organization is highly dependent on its external environment. Second, the strong emphasis on service quality increased the emotional labor and burnout risk, indicating a gap between performance goals and employee well-being. Lastly, the organizational was structured for stability rather than crisis, meaning crisis preparedness was weak. In overall sense, OD during this period was stable but not resilient. Then we're going to take a look on the post-pandemic period. During post-pandemic period, Starbucks Malaysia shifted to growth and survival recovery. Store closures, reduced working hours, and workforce instability disrupt organizational structure. According to contingency model theory, organization must adapt the structure to environmental changes, and Starbucks Malaysia was forced to rapidly reconfigure its workforce and operation. At the same time, the organizational accelerated digitalization, such as mobile ordering and delivery services. While necessary, this creates skill mismatches and resistance to change. Consistent with Lewin's view that poorly managed change increases resistance. From an OD perspective, this phase represents reactive OD, where development efforts focus on short-term adaptation and rather than long-term capability building. And lastly, we're going to talk about the current situation, which is from the last year 2024 until now 2025. In the current period, Starbucks Malaysia faced continued financial pressure, reputational challenges, and consumer boycotts, which is specifically the BDS movement. So the organizational development has shifted into defensive mode, prioritizing cost optimization and labor productivity. This reflects systems theory, where external pressures directly affect internal organization processes. A major OD issue, as in the current day for Starbucks Malaysia, is organizational identity conflict. Although Starbucks Malaysia operates locally and it is perceived as a part global political and economic system, this creates identity dissonance, weakening employee engagement and commitment. Additionally, reduced focus on training and development threatens long-term organizational learning, contradicting the learning organization theory, which proposed by Peter Singer.
So, we have just covered the background of the external pressure facing Starbucks Malaysia. Now let's look at the primary driver for the critical changes implemented during this period. The key player was not an innovation strategy or a cross initiative. It was the urgent need for business survival against significant external pressure. The organization found itself having to defend its very existence. The change was fundamentally defensive as it was about proving its enduring value as a local Malaysian employer and a community partner to retain stakeholder trust and ensure business continuity. This context highlights how external crisis can become the most powerful catalyst for internal organizational change. In this environment, the HR department, specifically the partner management team, has shifted its role to become the central change agent for internal resilience and crisis management. Their work was crucial in stabilizing the organization. First, their priority was talent retention. They needed to keep over 5,000 local Malaysian employees engaged. This meant actively managing employee morale amid intense public scrutiny. They understood that retaining talent was non-negotiable for future recovery. Second, they took ownership of internal crisis communication. HR helped spread clear messages to all employees, continuously reinforcing the crucial fact that Starbucks Malaysia is locally owned and managed by Berjaya Food Berhad. This was a vital organizational action to detach their partners from the external narrative and maintain internal focus. And finally, HR managed strategic staffing with a focus on preserving jobs instead of resorting to the drastic change of large-scale layoffs. They implemented a subtle, effective cost reduction measure, which is reducing non-essential work hours. This balanced the operational necessity of cost control with the organizational commitment to the employees, a factor in maintaining trust. In summary, the HR department successfully navigated the crisis by focusing on people-centric, from communication to strategic staffing.
I am going to be presenting the specific OD interventions or action to combat the company of our choice, which is Starbucks, with its recent boycott crisis. So, management implemented strategic, communication and human process intervention to manage the crisis that Starbucks has carried out. There were four specific intervention, such as strategic and techno-structural intervention, human process and strategic intervention, strategic communication intervention, and human resource management intervention. So firstly, the strategic and techno-structural intervention. They implemented the operational downscaling and restructuring involving the closure of many underperforming outlets and adjusting the cost structure to align with the reduced revenue stream. So secondly is the human process and strategic intervention, where they launch enhanced communities commitment, CSR, to intensify effort in local initiative, such as highlighting the Starbucks signing store concept to underscore the company's positive local impact. Thirdly is the strategic and communication intervention, where they conducted a proactive messaging and localization campaign. This issuing repeated official statement helps clarify the company's local image and ownership and contribution as a major Malaysian employer, aiming to correcting the public misinformation due to the recent boycott. Lastly, and the most importantly, is the human resource management intervention, where they focus on the local cultural reinforcement. This actively promoting and celebrating the fact that they are 100% workforce Malaysian to strengthen the local identity within the Malaysian community. Thank you so much.
There is clear evidence of Starbucks' successful transformation following the pandemic. This significant increase in app usage indicates strong customer acceptance of digital ordering systems. Furthermore, the rise in digital and mobile transactions enhance operational efficiency and customer convenience. Employee engagement also improved as a result of a better organizational support and continuous training initiative. Then finally, Starbucks revenues recovery after the pandemic demonstrates that this transformation strategy would effective in ensuring business sustainability and competitiveness. So, what can we learn from Starbucks? First, any organizational change must be customer-focused to ensure it meets real customer needs and expectations. Starbucks successfully aligned its transformation strategy with customer convenience and experience. Secondly, is technology plays a key role as an enabler in improving operational efficiency and expanding market reach, especially through digital platforms. Third is employee involvement is critical to ensure smooth implementation of change. By supporting and training employees, Starbucks was able to reduce resistance and improve engagement. And finally, continuous improvement is essential to keep the company competitive and responsive in a rapidly changing business environment. In conclusion, Starbucks is a strong example of successful organizational change. Through effective change management, the company was able to overcome the post-pandemic challenge while continuing to grow and adapt to new market demands. Starbucks showed that focusing on customer needs, leveraging technology, actively engaging employees, and practicing continuous improvement are key factors in managing change successfully. Overall, these lessons are not only relevant to Starbucks but also can serve as a useful guide for any organization face change in today's dynamic business environment. That's all from us. Thank you.